I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday morning to you all, or Wednesday night, whenever you are watching this. I had a break-even day today. Toronto. I mean, man, that Toronto series is just kicking me in the nuts. Houston walks me off yesterday. Houston scores a run today in the ninth to lose my Toronto bet. So if that would have happened, I would have had a nice positive day. But whatever.
How did Flaherty pitch under the lights?
Flaherty was just fine under the lights. Actually, he was I got very lucky. I had the over in that game. I got really lucky because the Yankees again just got absolutely throttled. So. But tomorrow, the president's there. It's 9/11. There's no chance the Yankees lose, right? I guess we'll see. Anyway, Spoon, how was your day?
It's a pretty good day. Break even with my two biggest plays. I had a bunch of leans and I had trouble getting to the window, so I put three of them together and ended up cashing that. So that was nice. Up a little bit of money for the day. Needed to see that in baseball.
Yeah, I played the Angels as well, but I forgot to put it on the website, so I didn't really count it. But I did win a little bit of money. The Angels game was a super sweat too, though.
My Angels
ticket
got voided after Soriano was pulled from the game.
I always like using action regardless, and if you get something like that happens, all good. So, anywho, let's get through this. Not a huge slate, not a whole bunch of games to talk about, but I do have a couple games that I think I want to bet. Start off first game on the board: Pittsburgh on the road in Baltimore. Johan Oviedo on the mound versus Cade Povich. Baltimore, a heavy favorite, got another win tonight or last night, whenever you were watching this, against Paul Skeens and the boys. A walk-off winner. Do you think Baltimore continues its winning ways, I guess, as they have been the last couple weeks-ish? Winning-ish?
It's tough to see them getting runs off Johan Oviedo. This guy's looked really sharp in his first 4 starts here in the major leagues. Not giving up more than 2 earned runs in any of them, pitching into the 5th inning 3 times, the 4th inning once. But that Pirates bullpen is not anything I trust that much. I think Baltimore probably does find a way to win this game. What I like most in this game is the under. I think Oviedo does come out here, pitches 5 good innings versus this Orioles team. And then Cade Povich, this guy's given up runs just about every start he's gone out there. But versus LA, he didn't give up any runs. Pretty righty-heavy lineup. Pirates are pretty righty-heavy. And versus left-handed pitching, they're the worst team in baseball in the full season. I think Povich finds a way to pitch well here at home. This under 8.5 seems like something that's pretty good value.
Yeah, sorry, Sauce. If you could type for me, first 5 under 4.5, minus 105. It's still minus 105 on BetMGM. It's about 115 everywhere else. But I 100% agree with everything that you said. The only thing that bothers me is the bullpen usage for both of these teams. As far as the Pirates are concerned, Santana and Madison were both 2 of the last 3 days. They both worked yesterday. In Baltimore, pretty much used everybody in their bullpen yesterday. So all those guys will be on back-to-backs, if not worse. So I just don't really want to deal with the back end of this game. But like he talked about, Johan Oviedo has been really good. He was out of the league for a couple years and came back with 2 home starts, 2 away starts. And the away starts versus Boston and St. Louis, nothing to write home about those teams offensively. But I do think that this Baltimore team, they've been winning games, but it hasn't always been the bats. So the last couple games that they've won, it's been 3-2, 4-3, 2-1. So it hasn't always been the bats. Their bats have been decent, but it's more of a fact that I think that Cade Povich can actually pitch well against this Pittsburgh lineup, who really struggles versus left-handed pitching in general. I mean, the offense struggles in general. You don't need me to tell you that. But I think that we're getting a decent number here, especially considering the fact that they just got to Blake Snell and Clayton Kershaw shot. But I don't. When the Pirates play the Dodgers, I almost kind of throw those games out, but a huge grain of salt, because for whatever reason the Pirates always get up to play the Dodgers. It just always seems that way. So I don't really put too much stock into that. So I think both these guys are going to pitch well tomorrow. I played first 5 under 4.5. I like that under as well. Next game on the board, man, I was gonna play White Sox team total over 3.5 today. It was like free as hell. Mad at myself. Tampa Bay on the road in Chicago. Ian Seymour on the mound versus Shane Smith. I don't understand why the White Sox are still plus 120 right here. Do you?
Because the Rays are trash.
So are the White Sox.
Fair.
This is kind of a tough game. I lean Rays here. I think minus 142 is a really decent price for it. I see a little bit cheaper prices offshore, so I'm not sure we need to move on it this moment. But the White Sox versus left-handed pitching is dead. There was a time where that was a thing, but I mean, they got 6 off Noah Cameron on the 25th, but outside of that, they haven't got runs off any of the lefties they've seen lately. And Ian Seymour has looked very good on the mound. I think he can go out there, give Tampa Bay 4 or 5 innings. They don't play a game tomorrow. The White Sox do, so that gives them a little bit of an advantage of being able to just empty out everything they can into this game. Still not completely out of the playoff picture, but I think this Rays team just has more to play for. Shane Smith has looked pretty decent this season. Struggles more with lefties than he does righties, and the Rays do have some pretty heavy-hitting lefties in the middle of that lineup. So I think they get enough runs to win this game. I'm probably going to move on this. I'm going to wait and kind of see what the price does, but minus 142 seems like a fair price to me. I think it might even close well.
It would only be the White Sox for me. I have no interest in actually betting the game, but I know that the Rays' record the last 10 games or so have been somewhat decent, but it's just not a team that I trust right now. They also used Kelly, Rock, Baker, and Solster out of their bullpen. That gives like Fairbanks, Uqueta, all those guys, the bigger guys, the day off. But if Seymour doesn't go out there and give you 5 or 6 solid innings, you're going to get a lot of the bad bullpen for Tampa Bay, and not a great spot. So it would only be the White Sox for me. I'm not betting. Yeah. Next game on the board, Astros on the road in Toronto. Christian Javier, Kevin Gausman. Your thoughts on this one? I've taken a loss in the 9th inning in this series, both games, so I don't really know what to do. Kind of lean Toronto, but there's no chance in hell I lay this price.
Yeah, I kind of struggled with the side in this one as well. I think this is a spot where I just want to go to the pitchers and their ability to give up runs. Gausman's looked amazing his last few starts, just went 8 innings pitched versus the New York Yankees, just 1 earned run in that game. I think he kind of comes back down to earth. The Astros haven't been killing right-handed pitching. That's kind of what's keeping me off this over right now, but I think they find a way to get a few runs off him and that Blue Jays bullpen. And Christian Javier, it's good to give up a few runs himself, and it seems like the Astros bats always show up when he's on the mound. So I lean this over. The Blue Jays roof should be open tomorrow. It's a day game, temperatures and well into the 70s, so not a ton of nice weather left in Canada. I think they find a way to put on a show tomorrow.
Have the overs still been hitting here with the roof open? I know that was a gold mine in like June.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to it personally. I will say that we have Christian Javier on the mound again, and I'm going to give you the scores. It doesn't matter who wins or who lost.
11-14, like football scores.
I'm here. Okay. And this is just this year. So we already knew this coming into the year. First game, 7-6, 0-12, 9-8, 2-0, 8-4.
Why does every single game he pitches and become a shootout?
Every freaking game he pitches, there's 10 runs on the board. So I would feel really stupid come on in here and try to tell you guys about it under. So it would only be over 8.5 for me. like he said, Gosman has been really good this year. Only a couple blow-ups his last 7 starts, one of them against the Royals at home, one of them against Miami on the road. But besides that, he's been going not only 6 or 7 innings, but like 1 or 2 run baseball. So Houston did get to him earlier this year. And there's multiple guys in that lineup that have seen him really well. Altuve sees him really well. Correa has seen him decently. A lot of the other guys are kind of small sample sizes. He owns guys like Pena and Walker, so we'll see what happens there. But I would only expect runs in this game. I don't really trust either one of these bullpens either. We've seen both of them blow up essentially the last couple of days. It would only be over 8.5 for me. Next game on the board. Oh, man. Washington on the road in Miami. Is it Brad Lord or Mackenzie Gore, Spoon? I thought it would.
Mackenzie Gore is going to be pitching.
Okay, that's what I thought. So Mackenzie Gore versus Ryan Weathers, a pair of lefties going against each other. What are your thoughts on this one?
So it's a little tough. Both of these pitchers haven't been pitching in the major leagues recently. Mackenzie Gore was just on the IL with shoulder inflammation. Missed 2 starts, I believe. I think he can come out here and pitch well. This Miami team at home has been one of the worst teams in baseball over the last 30 days, 27th in WRC plus, not really getting to lefties. And I think Mackenzie Gore still has some good stuff left in that arm. I don't know how healthy he is. There was no rehab starts to judge anything, just a couple simulated things in-house. I don't think they're throwing him out here this time of season if they're worried about his health, though. So that gives me some confidence in him. Ryan Weathers, on the other side, has not pitched in the major leagues much over the last few seasons. He came back at the beginning of this season, had a lat injury that kept him out for a while. So he hasn't made a start since June 7th. Looked pretty decent to start the season, then showed some signs of mortality there versus San Francisco and Tampa Bay. And it was likely due to that injury, but he looked really sharp in his first 3 starts, blanking the Chicago Cubs, just 1 earned run over 2 games versus them. San Diego, 5 2/3, 0 earned runs. He has pitched 2 games in the minors so far, not going super deep into games. I expect maybe 4 to 5 innings from him tomorrow, but he's not giving up walks, and that's the issue with Ryan Weathers. Came up with the Padres. When he gets himself in trouble, he's giving up walks. So I think he's got good control. You have that automated strike zone down there in the minors. If he can pitch well down there, I think he can do it versus the Nationals, who also are terrible versus left-handed pitching. They're dead last in baseball over the last 30 days. It's gross to take an under with 2 pitchers coming off the IL, but that's what I want to do, the under 8.5 here.
It would be the opposite for me. It would only be over for me. I don't have any interest betting this. I agree that Ryan Weathers came back this year and with a vengeance and was great. Started to fall off a little bit. I think that start in Tampa Bay on the 7th where he went 3 innings isn't that the start where he got hit in the head by the ball from his catcher? Not that I'm like making an excuse
from his catcher.
Yeah, dude. He like throwing it like when he throws it to second, he got hit in the head. He was all pissed off.
Typical Marlins.
Yeah. Typical. It was pretty typical. It was pretty sad. But does the sample size is really small, but he does kind of struggle with righty bats. I mean, the xFIP on both sides is really bad. So it just kind of depends on what you think. But this Washington offense has been terrible all season pretty much. James Wood had his like 1 month in the sun where he hit some home runs. And besides that, he's been absolutely terrible. But the Nationals won that trade. But I'm sure. But I will say that the Nationals have been very good on the road, not only the last 2 weeks, the last month, but actually one of the best road lineups in Major League Baseball over the course of the year. They're like top 15 or whatever, depending on the category. So the Marlins at home are anything special, especially versus lefties. But the way that Mackenzie Gore, you're getting Mackenzie Gore for what, maybe 4 or 5 innings max. And then you're going to get multiple shots at that Washington bullpen. It would only be over for me. But again, I'm not betting it. Next game on the board. Do we have a line yet for the Yankees and the Tigers? I haven't seen one yet.
Circa dropped minus 158 Yankees, plus 138 Detroit, with the total sitting at 8.5, juice to the over minus 120.
Yeah, as long as I get the Yankees under 160, probably going to. I'm not going to lie.
If Circa's open at minus 158, I doubt it'll probably be in the 160s, I would imagine.
Yeah. I like this Schlittler kid. I think he's been really, really good. I think he kind of ran into a buzzsaw, which is Toronto, his last start, but his previous 6 starts on the road starts on the road against the White Sox, the Rays, and Miami. Home starts against Washington, Minnesota, and Houston. Yes, Detroit's better than all these lineups, but at the same thing, I think that we can all agree, whether you were betting Detroit or the Yankees or the over or the under, it's not like you're really impressed with what Detroit has done the last 2 nights in Yankee Stadium. And I know that probably will get some of the comments going, well, they've scored like 25 runs. Well, a lot of them were like aided by really, really bad pitching and walk after walk, and then a single scores 2 and hit by a pitch, and then a single scores 2 more. So do I really think that the offense for Detroit is humming right now? It looks like it on paper because of the homestand they had. I don't know if it's really there, but I will take my chances with Schlittler on the mound, the Yankees in a bullpen behind him. Not to mention it's 9/11, all that good stuff. You know that the Bronx is going to be rocking. Yankees aren't losing tomorrow, guys.
Under the lights?
I don't know what time the game is. Oh, yeah, it's got to be under the lights.
It's going to be under the lights.
Yeah. Spoon, go ahead.
Do you think Schlittler can handle under the lights here? I mean,
Yo,
pretty big.
has he been under the lights in Yankee Stadium yet? I don't know. It looks like it.
No, I fully agree with everything. I do not expect the Yankees to come out here on 9/11 and lose this game. I'm not trying to pay that kind of juice, minus 158 right now. I like the -1. You can build this probably close to minus 115. Lock up the win if they just win by 1, and if they win by margin, you get all your money. But I don't want to pay that much juice with this Yankees team. We've seen them play baseball the last few weeks. Sometimes they look really good, and other times they can't hit anything. And I don't want to have a unit and a half attached to that.
Fair enough. Next game on the board, Royals on the road in Cleveland. Stephen Kolek, Gavin Williams. Man, what are your thoughts on this one? There's a part of me that kind of wants to play Kansas City at this price. I love me some Gavin Williams, but yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So how healthy do you think Bobby Witt is? Stole a base today, got a couple base knocks.
I don't worry about guys like Bobby Witt. And the reason that, and I know that I'm sure you've said it on this show, I know I've said it, Bobby Witt plays 155 games a year if he can. So if he's just not the type of guy that I worry about with back spasms or whatever. If he's in the lineup, for me, you can expect Bobby Witt. That's kind of what I take from it personally.
Pretty close to Cleveland on the other side of this. Watched a few swings out of Bobby Witt. Doesn't look like himself right now swinging the baseball bat. Maybe it's just a couple more days of getting repetition back and feeling right, but maybe it's that back is just not allowing him to perform the way he wants to. And Gavin Williams is going out there and pitching against really good lineups, pitching well. I don't have a lot of issues trying to back him right now. I know he struggles more with righties, and the Kansas City lineup is littered with good hitting righties at the top, but I think this is a spot where he can pitch really well. Stephen Kolek on the other side is not a guy that I'm in love with, struggles with lefties. And this Cleveland lineup, we've noted many times over the course of the season, can pack 7 or 8 of those lefties in that lineup. I don't think Stephen Kolek goes out there and pitches well. This will come down to bullpen situations. Cleveland has Gaddis available, has Cade Smith available. They've been tough closing out games, trusting the back end of that bullpen, but this Kansas City team, I don't think they're playoff bound this year. Just not watching them play baseball doesn't give me a lot of confidence in them. I'm really close to the Guardians here.
Yeah, probably if I get 120 or better with Kansas City, I probably make that bet. I think everybody that watches this show religiously knows that I'm a Gavin Williams truther and have been for a while now. Not a fade of Gavin Williams, but I will say he's coming off 2 7-inning performances of 95 pitches plus. I don't know if we're going to get the same Gavin Williams that we usually get. We've seen him in the past when he has higher pitch counts in games, usually ends up taking a game off. See that with the Miami game. We saw that with him on the road in Texas as well. That was 1 home game, 1 away game. So there's no really bad home away splits. The Royals are going to be seen him out twice already this year. Nothing crazy. 11 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs. Nothing crazy, but I do not think, and I've been on record that I don't think that Stephen Kolek should be a major league pitcher. But I'm also willing to go on record that maybe I was wrong. And I agree with you. He's not a guy that I'm running to back.
Seems like you're running to back him right now.
It's a light jog. I'm not running. Because
you said if it's 120 or better, there's like 4 120s open right now.
Okay, well, it wasn't when I looked, so I apologize. I can only do one thing at a time. But my point is that his last 2 starts that were really good were at home. So I don't know if he can translate that onto the road, because his road starts were Miami and St. Louis, and we both know that both of those teams aren't offensively juggernauts, to say the least. But it's not like Cleveland's putting up a whole bunch of runs in these games. They're winning games like 2-0. They lost today 4-3, 10-2, 2-1, 3-2, 7-1, 4-2. It's not like they're scoring a whole bunch of runs and just throttling teams. They're playing good baseball right now, and they are at home. But Kansas City has everybody in their bullpen as well. And like Spoon said, Gavin Williams struggles with right-handed bats, and there's maybe 2 left-handed bats in that lineup for Kansas City tomorrow. 3, something like that, 4, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I just don't think that Cleveland should be this big of a favorite. It would only be Kansas City for me.
Cleveland wins 10-4.
I guess Caglianone's back, so that helps. That's another lefty.
10-4, Kansas City scores some late runs.
Maybe I should bet it now then. Mets on the road in Philadelphia. The Mets cannot win in Philadelphia. Goodness gracious. David Peterson on the mound versus Jesus Luzardo. Phillies pretty decent favorites here. I feel like this is the same handicap as yesterday. It would only be the Mets for me. I'm not going to bet it because they can't seem to get out of their own way in the bank. I don't know. It's like 50 innings, and they've scored like 4 runs their last 50 innings or something crazy like that. So whatever they're doing in Philadelphia, it's working against the Mets. So price wise, it's only the Mets. I don't know if I can actually bet it though. Spoon.
I would agree with that. Price wise, it's only the Mets. The Phillies aren't getting the lefties like the Mets are getting the lefties, but the way the Phillies have been playing here at the bank versus the Mets makes me think they can get runs off David Peterson, guy that's given up 12 earned runs in his last 2 starts. I look at this over and just have it circled. I haven't actually gotten there to the ticket window with it, but I think both of these offenses are more than capable of putting up runs on Luzardo and David Peterson on the other side. And these bullpens have a lot of good arms back there, but I mean, they haven't been performing the way that I think either team would like them to. I think this over with these 2 offenses will not be dead until the last pitch is thrown.
Yeah, I actually like that. You can get an over 8 minus 120. I don't hate that at all. Nice weather in Citizens Bank Ballpark tomorrow, like 78 degrees, slight wind blowing out towards center field. Yeah. Did you actually play that? I'll play that with you if you did.
I'll do it.
All right.
I'm close to it.
Over 8 120 on MGM or on Caesars, excuse me. I'll write it down so I don't hold up the show. Next game on the board. Rockies on the road in San Diego. McCade Brown versus the GOAT, Randy Vasquez. And I don't want to hear anything about Randy Vasquez because what happened his last time out, goes out there, just gives you another 5 innings.
Wasn't dude just in the minor leagues?
Yeah, because the Padres are lost right now. They're spiraling. They're out of control. I feel like I honestly feel like I'm TV Jones right now because I'm not worried we're going to make the playoffs, but we can't win baseball games right now. We've lost 11 of 16. It's just been really, really bad. So thank God we have Randy on the mound. I don't worry about Randy Vasquez at home or on the road. He has decent numbers versus this Rockies lineup. And he's continued to perform at a pretty high level all season. So he's not going to go deep into games. That's well established, but he's going to give me my 5 innings of 1 or 2 run baseball. You can essentially just write that in. So, It would only be under for me. This Padres offense is just absolutely terrible. McCade Brown has been terrible as well, and the Padres just got 6 runs off of him, but that was in Coors Field, and I watch this Padres offense every single freaking day, and there's just no way. If they happen to score 5 or 6 runs tomorrow, like they did in Coors Field, so be it. But I feel like this is a straight under. Your thoughts, Spoon?
Yeah, I fully agree with that under. I think Vasquez comes out here and pitches really well to this Rockies lineup. We've gone over it time and time again. He just struggles with lefties. If you don't have any good lefties in that lineup, he's probably going to have a good start. And on the opposite side, McCade Brown did struggle with them there in Coors, but I mean, that's the most offensive park in baseball. And then we're switching over to the one of the most pitcher friendly parks in baseball. I think McCade Brown probably comes out there, goes five innings, 3 earned runs. I think this stays safely under the total. I'm not sure I'll get there though. Just the volatility involved with these pitchers.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more with the volatility statement because this game could be 2-1 going into the 6th, and then just anything could happen. So I feel you on that one.
The conversation in the comments has somehow gone back to vegan hot dogs.
I saw a couple of them
being green.
because I keep my phone open sometimes. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh Jesus, here we go.
How do we end up on vegan hot dogs 2 nights in a row?
Next and last game on the board, then Sauce has college football and NFL football on the docket tonight. Soriano and the Angels on the road in Seattle, and unfortunately, did Circa drop a line yet, Spoon, by chance? I hadn't get a check before the show. Yes. Heavy favorite,
so Circa dropped this. They already moved it down just a little bit. It opened plus 160 Angels, minus 179 Seattle. It immediately bounced to 145 Angels and minus 162 Seattle, and it bounced back a little bit. The Angels are 155 there on Circa right now. Seattle minus 173. I went ahead and took the Angels plus 150. This is Soriano. We capped it all yesterday. I fully expect him to come out here, pitch really well. I expect Bryce Miller on the mound for Seattle. I don't see it confirmed yet on multiple books, so I guess it's not locked in, but just looking at the course of pitchers that they use, it's his turn in the rotation to throw. I guess the line makes sense. Bryce Miller pitches well at home, but I mean, actually, he's got a 5.46 ERA this season at home. He's not been the same pitcher that I remember from last year. The Angels' offense isn't great, but I think Soriano can keep this Seattle team off the board for a little bit, and the Angels find a way to win this game. Plus 150 is just way too big of a number right here for me. I guess you could look at the plus 1.5 if you're scared of it, but it's a lot of plus money with the Angels. I got to be there.
I couldn't agree more. Bryce Miller has a somewhat decent history against the Angels in a way, but last time he pitched against them 3 months ago, he got absolutely throttled. And we've talked about this, I feel like, ad nauseum on this show when we discuss the Mariners, is that they're starting pitching that we used to rely on so heavily. You really can't do that anymore. And I know that Seattle has been winning some games, but I mean, Atlanta is not a good baseball team. St. Louis is not a good baseball team. And you can argue, that the Angels aren't a great baseball team either, but Jose Soriano is a very good pitcher in this league. Yes, he does have some struggles on the road like a lot of guys do, but he also gives you a lot of 5-6 innings performances of 1 or 2 run baseball. And this Mariners team offensively hasn't been great. I mean, before that Atlanta series, they were doing absolutely nothing, and then they exploded it for 2 games in the Atlanta series, and then they kind of worked their way to score some runs late through the last few nights versus St. Louis. But at no point in this St. Louis series were we even confident that they were going to win a game the way that they were playing, watching these games. So I'm not in a spot where I'm going to lay heavy juice with the Mariners with Brian Wu on the mound, let alone Bryce Miller, who hasn't been good at all. I wouldn't mind a first 5 with the Angels if you're worried about the Angels bullpen, but it would only be the Angels for me. I think I'm going to get on that with you. That price I didn't expect that price with Soriano on the mound, to be dead honest with you.
Believe I got it at Caesars. It's still open.
Love it. So Sauce and company are going to go over college football and NFL. I will see you guys all tomorrow night. Have a good night.
Shout out Jimmy and Troy. Look forward to seeing him with Sauce.
Hell yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, it is Wednesday, so Kyle Hunter's here, and we got a new guest, former All-American tight end at Texas A&M and 3rd-round pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. Jace Sternberger is here. Jace, we got a big game for an A&M. It's actually 4th on the list, so we're not getting into it now, but what are your thoughts so far this season?
It's been slow, a lot less climatical than most people wanted. Everybody wanted us to just come out and dominate from game 1, but given the opponents, and we've been playing some well-coached ball clubs, I think we'll find out this week who we are.
Yeah, you're gonna find out this week. You better, because I'm on the Yankees.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, so We're starting out with Clemson, Georgia Tech. I've already talked about this game, so I'm going to let these guys talk. You guys know I said under, slight lean towards Clemson. Now that it's down to 3, I am starting to get close to I saw a juice 2.5. It's starting to get into playable range for me at Clemson. I'm just a little worried about the offensive line. I'm getting mixed injury reports. I don't know who's playing. I don't know if Walker Parks is going to play at guard, so I'm a little worried about the injury status for the offensive line. Not sure about Antonio Williams, the star receiver, either. So, Kyle, Clemson, Georgia Tech, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to bet Georgia Tech in this spot, but the number doesn't really allow me to bet it at this point. Brent Key has been really good at getting teams to play in the underdog role. 14-6 against the spread as an underdog, 4-0 against the spread as an underdog at home with 2 outright wins as a double-digit dog. So he's definitely good at getting teams up for this. Kyle, I was really high on Clemson. Like, I've been super disappointed with them and their efforts so far this year. This is kind of their chance to show who they are. I mean, we saw the first half against Troy last week was definitely a bad look. No plays of 40 yards or more so far this year for Clemson's offense, so lacking the explosiveness. Defensively, Clemson, I think, is still in pretty good shape. Klubnik's been pretty bad, but also look at the offensive line. This was expected to be a top 10 offensive line. They're 99th in pass blocking grade at PFF and 91st in run blocking grade, so that's definitely hurt them quite a bit as well. Nothing I've seen so far this year makes me excited to bet Clemson, but my priors would have said Clemson -3, you should be betting. So really torn on this game. Maybe a Clemson team total under, thinking, I want the offense to prove it to me, but nothing strong here.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech's defensive front has been surprisingly strong.
Yeah.
Jace, Clemson, Georgia Tech, possible ACC game of the year here. What are your thoughts?
Man, I think one of our first conversations, I was saying how am I crazy if Clemson starts the season 1-2, because I just didn't like the LSU matchup. And
you
then
did say that.
I've been very high on Georgia Tech. I am biased because of Haynes King. I think that guy is a complete stud, true grit. Just maybe not the most talented guy in the world, but you're going to get a gamer out of him. And that 9.5 looked amazing. I already knew I was taking Georgia Tech, but my gut feeling now that time's getting closer and closer is that this could be one of those games where Haynes King throws a pick 6. Next thing you know, it's 21-0, and everything that we've been, me especially, I've been the biggest Cade Klubnik hater ever this year because he's been nothing but disappointing to me. He makes me eat my words, and it's like a 20-point game at halftime because Clemson, what's it at 2.5 right now? Like, I'm taking that all day.
Wow, you're bailing on your boys there.
I don't want to because I want to be right so bad and talk trash, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you wanted Georgia Tech, early in the week was the time to do it. I saw 6.5 on Sunday. I think it was even higher than that at some point. Obviously, I didn't pull the trigger on it. What worries me most about the Georgia Tech offense is obviously it's an offense that wants to run the football, right? Even Haynes King wants to run the football. If there's one... Clemson's been a circus so far this year, but if there's one aspect of the team that you could point at and said, hey, that unit's done their job, it's the defensive front. I mean, they're still playing tough up front. Keep in mind, they played tough against LSU. LSU had a scoring drive at the end there, but Clemson's defense played fine, and the defensive front I still trust, so I don't think Georgia Tech's going to run the ball. Clemson or under for me. Let's move on to, what is next, Georgia, Tennessee. Oh, we're moving into the SEC, so let's let the SEC man bat lead off here. Jace, Georgia, Tennessee in Knoxville. Big one.
I took them last year. I know they're not the underdogs now, but Kirby Smart on the road. I'm just old school in the sense I'll never fade Kirby. Georgia's still Georgia to me. I don't care who's that quarterback. I think this will be the most fired up this defense is going to be in a while. Tennessee, I know they have a lot of momentum. No Nico anymore. It looks like you can tell they're playing a little more stress-free. It looks like not everybody's as tense. I don't think Georgia cares about anything to do with that. I think that they come in and, like you said the other night, I think they could beat Tennessee 49-7. If Syracuse, if they're better at managing the game, I think that game gets closer going into the fourth. And so I'm not sold on Tennessee. I think Dylan Sampson being gone is a huge loss that no one's talking about. He was a game changer from play one. And yeah, again, I don't know everybody on the Georgia defense, but I'm not bold enough to bet against them yet.
Yeah, I agree. And Also, I'm a lot of hypocrisy with the Aguilar thing. Everyone hated when Nico was doing it, right? Padding stats against bad teams. But when Joey Aguilar do it, it's completely cool and it's awesome. And he's the savior of Knoxville. A lot of hypocrisy there. It'll only be Georgia for me. I didn't bet it yet. I'm kind of curious. For those of you that haven't been following it, some people got Tennessee plus 7.5 early in the week. Like this took heavy Tennessee money early. So I'm kind of curious if we've kind of been hovering at 3.5 for a while. Kyle, were you part of the early Tennessee action coming in?
No, I'm not. I like Georgia here minus 3.5. I think minus 3.5 is too good of a price here on a team with just really great team talent. 24/7 team talent composite. They're number one in the country. Makes sense. They've recruited well year after year. These teams don't usually play each other this early, so it's kind of surprising this early in September that they're playing each other. Georgia has had a couple non-inspiring games so far, especially the 28-6 win over Austin Peay. But I think you guys know this. Kirby Smart teams, they don't really care about blowing out those lower teams. In fact, look this one up, and was pretty interested to see Kirby Smart is a 30-point favorite or more, is 5-18 against the spread. So his teams have routinely won by 20 points when they could have won by 45 points. And they're 14-31 against the spread as a favorite of more than 21 points. So consistently, we've seen this over and over again. And Heupel's teams definitely are willing to run up the score. I mean, we saw that against East Tennessee State. And also, Jace was saying about the Syracuse game. And Syracuse, I mean, they didn't look very good last week. So I don't know how good of a win that was for Tennessee, because Syracuse really struggled last week. Pretty fortunate to win in that one. I think Aguilar, I mean, let's look back at what he was last year. He really turned it over a lot for App State. And Georgia's going to be in the backfield here. I think the defensive line will definitely be back there. Aguilar, I do not trust him to take care of the ball well. I think that this is one of those spots where, I know Tennessee has a great home field advantage, but Georgia's beaten them consistently, time after time. Georgia's a better talented team. Kirby Smart's a fantastic coach, obviously. If the world wants to bet on Tennessee from 7 down to 3.5, then I'll go the other way here and take Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. And I forgot, I actually do have a bet in the game. I'm considering Georgia. I already have the under in my pocket. I got 50.5. You could still get 50. So I jumped on the under immediately. And by the way, Kyle, I just want to give you a shout out. I appreciate you bringing up Joey Aguilar last year at App State, because everyone seems to have forgotten that year happened. One of my top bets of the week was App State minus 6.5 against South Alabama. Thursday night, prime time. The video got like 40,000 views. They were down 48-7. This dude sucked. So I'm anti-Joey Aguilar. I'm the only one in the world that's anti-Joey Aguilar. But yeah, let's move on. I do have that under, though. I did bet that under. Speaking of betting, I got great numbers in this one, so I'll just put them up. I got Florida plus 9.5, and I got under 51.5. So I'm sitting on some real nice ones here in this one. But Kyle, why don't you go ahead and bat leadoff for Florida LSU?
So I'm going to take the first half under in this game. Under 24.5, juiced a bit on the first half under here. I did bet this one earlier today. To me, this is a Florida spot where if they can't show up and show some pride in this game after they just lost to USF, I mean, I'm really concerned about the rest of their season. They have to show some pride. I think the first half is where the defense gets things together a little bit. I mean, look, LSU has not been great on offense so far this year. They struggled against Clemson a good while, and then they really struggled against La Tech. I know they were coasting, and I was certainly looking forward to this game, but LSU is 103rd in the nation in yards per play, 3.63 yards per carry. The offensive line has been pretty bad, 119th in run blocking grade so far this year. I think Florida's run defense is really good, so LSU is going to need to beat them through the air. They probably will at some point here with Nussmeier, certainly, but I think this game stays a little bit lower scoring. The other thing about this is these two teams are number 118 and number 128 in terms of pace of play, so they're playing really slowly. These drives could take a good long while. So hopefully we'll see some of those time-consuming drives where they kick a field goal and that helps the under. But I think this one stays lower scoring earlier. And I just isolated the first half here because I could see LSU pouring on a little bit later.
I I agree with everything you said. I'm not sure if LSU puts it on later, though, because probably some of the reason for the action coming in on Florida and the under, Caleb Banks not listed on the injury report, so he's going to be back. If you don't know who that is, that's the big defensive tackle in the middle there for Florida, 330 pounds in the middle. He hasn't played yet this year, so it looks like he's going to play. Yeah. So, Jace, are the Gators quitting on Billy here?
They should have quit on him years ago, but that's a different story. I'm not sold on LSU necessarily. Their defense, they're very athletic and they're very fast, very twitchy, and that's every SEC defense. But if Cade Klubnik, again, I'm bashing on him, if he had any pocket awareness and was able to throw the ball accurately over 30 yards in the air, they might beat LSU that game. Kudos to LSU's defense, but like Kyle had mentioned, I think Florida's going to come. They're going to have some, stuff. They're going to have some shit to them, and it's going to be close. I think I lean towards the under. If I had to make a bet on this, I probably won't. It's too much coming after a loss, because you would think Florida's going to come, but then again, Billy Napier is their coach, and so you really don't know what's going to show up. And then today, I changed my pick. I initially was going to go Florida with the points, but I watched DJ Lagway's post-conference game, and I need the Tim Tebow crying and promising me that I'm never going to witness that again, and I just didn't get that confidence, and so I think it's close. And I think Brian Kelly's philosophy now on offense is we're just not going to turn the ball over and rely on our defense to keep us in games, because, again, LSU's offense doesn't look nothing that is just dominating, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, LSU is yet to play a good offensive game this year. They didn't play that well offensively against Clemson. And then, it kind of got overlooked. No one's really paying attention. They were struggling to move the ball at home against Sonny Cumbie. So, yeah, LSU is yet to play a good offensive game. And that's, I'm not exaggerating or making a joke. They average like 4.81 yards per play at home against Louisiana Tech. So, yeah, LSU's offense doesn't look right now. And this is an offense that lost all of its offensive linemen from last year. LSU's offense, I can't believe I'm saying this, LSU's offense is going to have to prove it to me.
And if I can add one more thing, college quarterbacks, you got a guy who's some talk about being a first-round draft pick. In the college game, it's not like the pros. A first-round quarterback can easily take over a team and change the dynamic of a game. Like, we all watched Cam Ward do it last year with Miami, who was an average football team, and they won many games I don't think they should have. Garrett Nussmeier, he needs, this is the game where he has to take the step and prove to everybody why he is an NFL quarterback, because between him and Cade, I just don't see it right now, and I just need more points. I guess I'm being an offense, I'm biased, I get it, but that's
All right, let's move on to the next game, and it's Elko time. We got a Texas A&M former All-American. So this is my original thought. This line is disrespectful. You agree?
Absolutely, and I love the Lord, but they definitely got a Jesus Christ tax here, because like you said earlier on the show this week, it should be about -3, 3.5. +7 is ridiculous to me. CJ Carr, I thought he showed great fight against Miami, but again, how good is Miami? Monday night, it was at the Hard Rock, everything was built up, adrenaline's flowing. How good are both of those teams? My big point on why I'm leaning, obviously I'm taking A&M. Money line too. I don't want the 7. Is I've been a believer of Marcel Reed from day one. I think year 2 in a Colin Klein offense, he's going to keep getting more comfortable. But the big thing is, when a team loses a game and it's like, oh, I want that revenge. I got to get I want to get back and get revenge. They didn't play the following week. They had a whole week to get comfortable, and everybody's telling them it's going to be okay. It's a long season, and I just don't think they would be as hungry as they would be if they lost last week and they have to turn right around. I think having a bye week after 1 week is, I wouldn't want it. I would at least want to get a couple of games in my system, and I think that plays into A&M's favor. And maybe we haven't been showing any offensive because we're trying to work out the wrinkles in the run game or little things we've been using these last 2 weeks as tune-up games, and I pray I'm right, because I don't want this to be my first appearance and I look like a fool, but I just don't see. There was nobody on Auburn. There's nobody on Notre Dame that was just terrified me. I don't know if they were overthinking not getting Jeremiah Love involved in the game, but I don't care what anybody says. Mike Elko is the best halftime adjustment coach in the country, and I will die on that hill. And so give me A&M money line.
Well, if you're going to go down in your first appearance, I'm going down right next to you because I'm on A&M too, and I agree with everything you said. For me, I think A&M might be the better team, and I know that's freaking crazy. They just went to the national championship, but I watched these two teams play last year. Granted, it was at Kyle Field. Texas A&M was the better team. They gave it away, threw a couple bad interceptions there in the game, and I was on Texas A&M money line, and I remember thinking, like, I think Texas A&M was a stronger team in that one. It wasn't like a blowaway or anything like that. Texas A&M got better, significantly better this year, and Notre Dame lost key pieces. Notre Dame's still strong as hell. But adding Concepcion gives the Texas A&M offense a lot more flexibility. That offensive line, I mean, between A&M and Auburn, this is amongst the best offensive lines in the country. I think this line's super disrespectful. I probably would make it 2.5, 3. So just like you said. So yeah, Aggies, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a little Aggies money line in my pocket as well. Are you with us, Kyle?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd make the line 2.5, but other than that, I agree with you guys. I'm going to take Notre Dame's team total under here. So we're kind of aligned on how this game could play out. I think 28.5 is a lot of points to ask for Carr against the Texas A&M defense. Elko is a great defensive mind. I mean, I think it's going to be tough to score 29 points in this game. And I mean, I think both teams will run it a lot. And Jace is totally right. I mean, first, I love the Jesus Christ tax. I think that's the first I've ever heard that. And I mean, I've done this for quite a while. That's the first I've heard that one. But I think there is, some sort of point spread tax here, and that, I would have thought the line should be somewhere in the range of 4.5 or something like that. And here we are, and we've been sitting seven a lot of the time. It's come back down, but I think Jace was right too that. What was Notre Dame doing with 16 runs for their tailbacks in the first game? I mean, they have two really good running backs. I mean, their second string, Price, is better than just about anybody else's first running back. And instead, we throw the ball 30 times, and then there's 11 scrambles for Carr. I mean, I don't understand that at all. Greathouse didn't have any catches in that game. I think the Texas A&M secondary is really good. I mean, I think they're fantastic. So Notre Dame better be able to run it here. If they're going to have success, but I also don't think they'll break those explosive plays. I think this will be a little bit lower scoring. I would bet the under for the game overall if I had to bet something on the total. But, I haven't seen enough from Carr, just from that first game that would make me want to think that Notre Dame's going to get to 30 points here. I think this will be a close, low-scoring game. And, I would definitely take the points if I were betting aside, but I'm going to take Notre Dame team total under.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Notre Dame's rushing attack is quite as dynamic without Riley Leonard. Obviously, we don't have enough of a sample size to say anything like that, but having Riley Leonard as at quarterback definitely gives you an added element there. And we've seen rushing attacks just look so much better. Even if the quarterback is not running per se on that series or that play, just the idea of the threat of it being there, it's an added element for the defensive coordinator to account for. Let's move on. And let me switch the graphics. Jace, this one's all you because I really don't know what to do here, and this is a game you asked for. Vanderbilt, South Carolina. Are you a Pavia guy? I
was, but I don't know if I am as much anymore. I'm almost kind of rooting against him now. Not really, but it's still Vanderbilt to me. I'm more of a fan of Eli Stowers, former Texas A&M quarterback, moved to tight end at Vanderbilt. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. The kid is an absolute stud, and being a tight end myself, I just respect his game because you took a chance and went to Vanderbilt, and now you're about to make something for yourself, and so I'm a big fan of that. I think they're a hard-nosed team. I'm actually a Shane Beamer fan. When I played at A&M, we played in South Carolina. I think they have one of the best atmospheres, second to Kyle Field, of course, and I like everything Shane Beamer's about. I think I'm definitely on the hype train of Lenore Sellers, but I just don't see Vanderbilt getting over the hump and beating them. I think everybody is downplaying South Carolina, how much they did lose defensively, but in my head, that's all South Carolina is hearing about, and if anything, it's just fueling them for the fire. And I can promise you this, that at all the games Vanderbilt plays, there's not going to be one team who is sleeping on them this year. Like they've The target on their back might have been a faded red. This has like been circled in Sharpie, especially after like the Netflix show and Diego just in the press. He hasn't made it easier on himself, and so I think it might be close, kind of almost like the Florida LSU game, but where LSU might not pull away. I think South Carolina might pull away in the fourth quarter, and it could be a 2-possession game.
And that what you just said, that's kind of exactly what happened last year. It was a close game, not a lot of scoring, and then the South Carolina had connected on a couple of big plays at the end to win 28-7. Vanderbilt's offense did nothing against South Carolina last year. I'm just going to put the over up because that was my pick. But honestly, I feel like this game at the current number is kind of a coin flip. So I'll let Kyle. This wasn't one of the games you requested. Do you have any thoughts? Or should we move on to next?
I mean, this one's down to 4. This one's moved a lot. Then, I will say this: the look ahead line here was 8.5. So, I like Vandy plus 8.5. I don't like Vandy plus 4. I mean, that's a big difference. The rule of Pavia is to bet him as an underdog and fade him as a favorite. So it's scary for me to go against that. But South Carolina really kicked their butt pretty good last year. And I don't know. I mean, South Carolina, Sellers is a really good quarterback. South Carolina really did not look good last week. I assume they were just kind of playing with their food, looking forward to a different game. I don't even think they got a first down against South Carolina State in the first quarter, 4.5 yards per play. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to bet the game at this number. I think I'd probably bet the over too, Kyle, but nothing I really want to bet here.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Let me fix the graphics real quick. The next one is Duke Tulane, and I'll go first because this is one I added. So, and you know what? I think I listened to you talk about this game, Kyle. We're in lockstep here. I don't remember what your actual pick was, but I remember you talking about the game. My takeaway from the Duke-Illinois game is very similar to what you were talking about in a sense that the final score is not at all an indication of how that game went. You look at the final score, 45-19, Illinois at Wallace Wade. That is not how it went at all. In fact, Duke's offense was moving the ball more efficiently than Illinois' was. Duke averaged 6.95 yards per play in the game. If it wasn't for the 5-0 in the turnover battle, 5-0. Yeah, that'll do it. If it wasn't for the 5 turnovers, Duke was outplaying Illinois. I am not a Mensa guy. I've been pretty vocal. I'm not like hating on the guy or anything. I just think that the hype got a little out of control. He impressed me. If it wasn't for the turnovers, I would say that was a really impressive game for Duke. Now, turnovers are part of the game. Obviously, I'm not just trying to sweep them under the rug like nothing happened. But that final score is just such a false indication of what happened in this game. And there was also a crazy turning point in the first quarter. Duke's up 3-0, and Illinois is on like their own 40. They complete a pass. The receiver fumbles. Duke recovers it on like the 45 of Illinois. So Duke was up 3-0, recovered a fumble in Illinois territory with all the momentum. They review it and overturn it, and it was like, I don't really know how you overturn that. It was close. One of those where like the call on the field's got to stand, if you ask me. But they overturn it. The next play, Illinois punts and Duke muffs it, and Illinois got the ball on the 16-yard line and scores. So it goes from 3-0 Duke. They have the ball in Illinois territory to all of a sudden it's 7-3 in like 2 plays. It was like a crazy swing of momentum, and it was a very weird game where the final score is bullshit, if you ask me. And this is not a game I bet or anything. It's just I thought Duke looked a lot stronger than this. So I think this is a buy low on Duke. You could say the same thing. Tulane's defense gave up a bunch of yardage at points to South Alabama last week, but they scored 2 touchdowns late. So, I like that Duke defensive front. Illinois was not able to run the ball in this game, and Tulane so far, it's been all running. Retzlaff's been using his legs. His throwing numbers don't look good at all. He's got an 80.8 QB rating so far this year. Tulane has not shown much of a passing attack, and if they think they're going to run the ball in this Duke defensive front, Illinois couldn't do it. So I'm on Duke plus 1.5. I think they're the significantly better team. I'm not really sold on Tulane right now. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, several things I agree with what you said right there. I mean, it's easy to see that score and say, man, Duke plus 3, that was horrible, not even close. I mean, Duke outplayed them the vast majority of that game. And the turnovers and where they happened, I think also kind of wore down the defense. I mean, the defense was playing pretty well. And then finally, Illinois started getting some yards, but they were having to stay on the field, getting put in bad situations. Like you said, that the punt getting muffed was really killer. To me, Obviously, Mensa versus old team, a really fun matchup.
Cool.
This is must see TV, definitely. Looking forward to this one. You've got Tulane, who's +6 in turnover margin, and Duke, who's -6 in turnover margin through 2 games. Kyle, I want to ask Jace a question because we've got a former really good player here, and I don't usually get to talk to a guy that's been such a good player. So I want to get the player perspective. I've heard so many people say like turnovers are not predictive, or they are, like, are they always going to regress to the mean? If you have this many turnovers, you're not going to keep turning it over that much. What's your perspective on, is that predictive of the future? Are there some teams that just, are not going to turn it over hardly ever? Or do you think that, it kind of equalizes itself over the long run?
It's hilarious that you asked me that because my point I was going to say about Tulane is how I faded them week 1, but then I didn't realize Preston Stone was the quarterback for Northwestern, and that's the most predictable turnover you're ever going to predict. And so I 100% think that turnovers are very predictable. I mean, not to bash my old quarterback, but there was times where it was like, okay, we're probably going to get an interception a game, but at least as long as he has the confidence to throw the ball, I'm okay. I can live with it, live with one interception. And so I don't know if I answered your question very well, but I definitely do think that it's one of those things that it's not, you can't just flip the switch and not turn the ball over. It's at least from my experience, Coach Fisher, if you're turning the ball over in practice, you're going to turn the ball over in a game. And if you're turning the ball on, I mean, you think about it, football players, you train year round, you play 12 games, which is 12 games out of 365 days of work. And if you're fumbling on the most important day of the year, like, that's not just something you just turn off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the point there is like it's more of a point of emphasis for some coaches even than others. And
yep.
I mean, it's so key in a game. I mean, you can't be -3 or 4 in a game and turnover margin and win. It's super rare, obviously. Kyle, the other thing I was going to say here is kind of what you said. I mean, I don't know. People have talked up Jake Retzlaff a lot. Is he actually good? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's not. I'm not saying he sucks, but I don't think he's really good either. I don't even know that he was that good for BYU last year. I think it was more about the rest of the team around him was excellent. Sataki's a really good coach. Martin's a good running back. He had good wide receivers. So far, he has a 5.9 average depth of target, so a lot of checkdowns so far this year. Just no big-time throws. I need to see more out of Retzlaff, and I think he's going to have to do more in a game like this. And, I mean, I know he just turned it over constantly, but I think Mensa's a better quarterback than Jake Retzlaff. I don't think that's very close. I mean, so if he can get the turnovers under control, I like Duke here. 20 tackles for a loss in 2 games for Diaz. I mean, I still think the Duke defense is good. I wish I had bet Duke +3, Kyle. I mean, it was sitting there for a little bit, and I was like, I need to look at this game, and then it was gone in no time. But I think Duke is the right side here.
Yeah, Retzlaff's numbers, I literally had to go double check because I was like, I think my sheets might be wrong. He can't be that bad this year. And I had to go double check. I'm like, wow, his numbers are pretty bad. To only score 23 points at home against Northwestern when you were gifted the ball how many times is concerning. So, Jason, I'm kind of throwing you a curveball here. This wasn't a game that we were going to talk about. So, do you have any thoughts, or are you going to pass on this one?
No, I absolutely have thoughts. I was going to add this, but I was like, I've already sent a bunch of games. I was like, let me focus on what I can focus on. You go back to how do you pronounce his last name? My CTE kicks in sometimes, and I can't pronounce these players' names.
Retzlaff. You
go back and watch his tape at BYU. It's not like popping out. You're like, wow, we need this guy in the portal. There's a reason, and no offense to Tulane. I love John Summerall. I think this might be his last year at Tulane before he goes to another big program, maybe in Tuscaloosa. Like, that would be dangerous. But I don't know the proper word for it because he's not. The term fair weather fan gets thrown around a lot. It's like when things are going good, like whatever. He's that quarterback to me. When the defense is making plays and like things are just going that way, he's the last quarterback you want to play against because he's going to do some crazy spin move and he might fumble but pick up his own ball and then run it in. Like, he's that type of quarterback to me. He's not a quarterback that is like, I'm game planning for, I think I'm going to make him beat me. Like I said, I've already made the joke. Preston Stone gave him 4 interceptions, and you're putting up 20 points against the Northwestern defense. Like, they're well coached, but they're not 23 points only well coached. And I think it's going to be a little hostile that first quarter, but like you guys hit it on the head. I mean, that I look down. I mean, I had Duke +3 or +2, whatever it was, against Illinois, and it's a close game the whole time. And I see the muffed punt and everything. I'm like, there's no way. Like, Duke is going to come back and win this game. And then I look up and it's 45-19. I'm like, all right, they got away from them. But
Got ugly.
I think Duke is the much better team. And I'm with you, Kyle. I don't think Mensa is the greatest quarterback ever, but if you watch his tape against Oklahoma last year to his tape, the 2 games he's played this year, you do feel safer in the sense of he's not just gonna take a sack and it's gonna be a strip fumble for 30-yard touchdown. So I'm all over Duke here.
Yeah, I was impressed by Duke's offense. I mean, truly, if you take out the turnovers from that game, and again, you can't take them out, but I'm saying if you just eliminate those 5 plays and just watch the game, like Duke's offense looks way better. Now, Altmaier was completing some passes too, but I mean,
they're all, like you said, they're all in sync. Like, nothing. Their completions weren't like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. That they got lucky. Like, you can tell the offense is bought in. They're all running the right plays. Everybody's where they need to be, and like the ball was moving. Like, you look up, Duke's driving 20-yard play, 15-yard play, 13-yard play. Like, Illinois really didn't have an answer for them. You just don't want to see a Brett Bellema goal line defense, and unfortunately, that's what they had to deal with. But
and even the interception because it was 4 fumbles and 1 interception. Even the interception, the DB made a crazy play. It wasn't like wasn't an awful ball or anything. He was trying to throw like a corner route on the sideline, and the DB made a crazy. So it wasn't even. It was more like, oh shit, that was a hell of a pick there. More so than Mensa made like a terrible mistake. You know. Fix the graphics on this one. We got 2 games left. This is number 7. Arkansas Ole Miss. Jace, this is your game here. You already know what I'm on. Over.
Over. Oh, definitely the over, but I'm a huge Taylor. If he's healthy, almost. I watched the show earlier this week, and how do you pronounce the quarterback's name from USF? Is it Bryson?
Byron.
He reminds me a lot of Talon in the sense of if they're healthy, they are very dangerous. You go back and watch that Tennessee-Arkansas game last year, they didn't have an answer for Talon Green. Like, he was moving, he's getting first downs. Like, I mean, I did have Arkansas money line that game, so I'm extremely biased in that sense. But I think if he stays healthy, Ole Miss did not impress me. And yeah, I know Mark Stoops, the A&M coach, for 30 seconds before we ran him off. He's always going to have a great defense, and they played hard. And again, another A&M guy, Zach Calzada, like, they just weren't moving the ball. Like, but you knew that was going to happen. I think Arkansas gets after Ole Miss. Ole Miss will win, but is the spread still 9? I'm taking Arkansas on the points all day.
Kyle, this wasn't one of your games, but you want to share any thoughts, or should we move on to the Air Force?
Yeah, I'll give brief thoughts. I didn't bet this game. I mean, I think it's 7 or 7.5 across the board at this point. So definitely some sharp people have been liking Arkansas. I know Simmons has some injury questions too, and that's the only thing that's kept me off betting the over here. I think Simmons is a good over quarterback because he's kind of that gunslinger. He takes these chances where it's like it could be a pick six or it could be a big play for your team. Who knows which it's going to be. Talon Green has done better than I expected him to do at Arkansas because I don't think he has the greatest talent around him. And, coming from Boise, what's he going to do when he gets the SEC? I think Green's been a really good player there for Arkansas without the great wide receivers. The only thing that worries me a little bit about Arkansas is their defensive numbers. They look good, but they played a SWAC team and then Arkansas State. So I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried to trust that too much. I would bet the over here if I had to bet something. And if you get more than 7, I would probably take Arkansas as well. But I don't know, just enough question marks with Simmons, getting a little bit banged up last game, and then Arkansas stepping up in class. I think I'm going to pass here.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss can move the ball in Arkansas's defense regardless of the quarterback, honestly. I think this Arkansas defense is bad, and it just hasn't shown yet. But I would lean Arkansas as far as a side because Talon Green. And that Ole Miss defense is a shell of what it was last year, by the way. All those NFL players are gone. It's a shell of what it was last year. Go ahead.
Not to keep harping on this game, but that's how I kind of feel like that about the whole Ole Miss team in general this year. I'm not saying they're bad. I just need to see more. I mean, we've been very spoiled in the sense of Ole Miss quarterbacks and the immediate production going in college number wise, from Matt Corral to Jackson Dart to, like, we've seen some air raid true deep ball throwers, and I think maybe this is just me being. I haven't seen enough from Ole Miss. I don't know the receivers. There's no Trey Harris out there, and he, like I said, he's balling for the Chargers right now. Like he was a game changer, and I just need to see more from Ole Miss.
Yeah. The offense did lose a lot of pieces too. It's the offensive line also had question marks. Yeah, you're right. It probably is that you could probably say the same thing about most of the Ole Miss team right now. All right, last game on the board. Oh, let me fix the graphics real quick. And Kyle requested this one. I am all ears because I have been looking at this one a few times. I talked some shit about Bronco Mendenhall in the all season. One of my friends is a Bronco Mendenhall fan, so it was more in jest. But are you a Bronco Mendenhall guy here, Kyle? Are you on the Aggies?
I'm not betting Utah State. I do think Bronco Mendenhall is a good coach, though. I mean, he's done it quite a few different places at this point. So I would say I'm pretty high on Bronco Mendenhall, but I'm going to bet Air Force in this one, mainly because I'm high on Air Force. This is not really a bet against Utah State. It's a bet on Air Force. Kyle, remember last year when Air Force sucked for a long time through the season and everybody's like, what happened to Air Force? And then like the last 4 games, they went on this 4-game winning streak and they looked really good. They started running it down people's throat again. I think Air Force is going to be more like what they were at the end of the season than they were at the beginning of last year. They bring back a lot. The defensive line is going to be better. In my preseason notes, one of the things I underlined and wanted to circle back to is the weakness of the Utah State defense against the run. They're really undersized at defensive tackle, should struggle against good rushing attacks. I don't want that to be my weakness if I'm playing against Air Force. So I think Air Force is going to run the football really well here. Admittedly, I will say this, Utah State has played better than I expected them to play through the first 2 games. So it makes me a little bit cautious, and this is not a huge play for me or anything, but I want to back Air Force. The other thing about this is many times when people come to Logan, Utah to play a game, it's overwhelming to them because they're playing at elevation. They're not used to that. They catch a lot of teams in bad spots, but Air Force is going to be used to that. I mean, they play at elevation all the time, and these guys are in as good a shape as anybody. So if there's ever a team that was built to go play at Utah State, Air Force would be that team. I think Air Force will be much improved this year. I really like them to cover the number here on the road. I think they're going to move the ball quite a bit. Consider team total over as well. It's just, I mean, you guys know taking team total overs with the Air Force is a bit scary because those drives can take a long time and it takes a really long time to get down there. If they happen to kick a field goal, you're going, geez, they just used 12 minutes and they kicked a field goal, which is, just an overkiller. I'm going to trust Air Force to win and cover here just because I think this is a good matchup for them.
Yeah, I was big on Air Force entering the season, and if you gave me this number before week 1, I'm like, hey, I'll give you Air Force -4.5 in week 3.
Right.
I would have blindly took it, but Utah State's been pretty impressive so far, so I think I'd go over here in this one. But I don't have a ton of thoughts. The jury's still out for me on Utah State. I really don't know. I guess they might be pretty good, and after seeing what Bronco Mendenhall did last year at New Mexico, shit, anything's possible, man. The team was led the country in yards per play. What the hell even was that? Or was that Beck and Dampier though? So there's a lot of moving parts here. Was that Mendenhall or was that the OC and the quarterback who are now at Utah? So I don't really know with Utah State. Jason, this was not a game that we had talked about. Oh, that's right. You said you were down to take the Aggies, didn't you?
I got Aggie fever. A&M Aggies, give me Utah State Aggies, but I can't act like I know anything about Air Force, respectively, but just the football instinct in me is that anytime a lesser opponent plays a big-time SEC, not just SEC, any big Power 5 school, Utah State showed life to me, and it's either going to be a make or break game. Like they're either going to come out with that momentum that, hey, we were able to do this against A&M, like let's do this against Air Force, or they're going to come out and Air Force is going to completely just, I heard it on the show, they're going to dog walk them because they're they're emotionally hung over from the A&M game of trying to compete and playing in that big environment, or they build off of it and then they play a good Air Force team, and then so yeah, give me Utah the 4.5.
All right. All right, Kyle, where can the folks find your stuff?
You can find me at huntersportspicks.com. I'm on the BetUS College Football Show weekly as well. We do the spaces on Friday night. You can sign up for the free pick newsletter over there at my site, and follow me on Twitter or X at Kyle Hunter Picks.
Yeah, the Friday night spaces he does. I was in there around 11 p.m. last week. They go through a bunch of games. So yeah, give him a follow on Twitter if you want to join in on that. And Jace, that's your Twitter right there, right?
Yeah, that's my Twitter right here. And like I said, I just recently retired, so I'm just now dipping my toe into the content world of sports and finally doing this. And so, yeah, I'm a free agent right now. So don't follow me. I troll all the time, but I do I do say some good football stuff every now and then.
So that's his Twitter right there. Jace, thanks for joining, man. And definitely send me Sunday, Monday. Send me a list of games you want to talk about, and we'll pick a day. So
got you.
Yeah, man.
Nice to meet. Yes, sir. Nice to meet you guys.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
All right. We're really live now. That was a recorded segment. I'm actually live now. Got Jimmy the Bag and Troy on from Pub Sports Radio. That's where Spoon comes from, by the way. So this is a group of people. Spoon does shows over there all the time. Wine Time is a guy that you see in the comments a lot. He does work with them as well. So before we get into it, because this is your guys' first time on here, why don't you run through the production schedule? If someone's trying to watch some football content on Pub Sports Radio, what's the schedule like? I know you're on at 11 a.m. Eastern, right?
We switched that to 12 this year, to 12 p.m. But first off, Kyle, thank you so much for having me and having Troy. Shout out to the Sauce Network, all these great cappers in the chat. Honored to be rocking with you guys. There's a reason why this show is such a big success, and Troy and I are just thankful to be rocking with you guys. So first off, thank you. Enormous thank you. Our Troy and I's show is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we break down every game on the NFL card. It's a Bankroll Blitz. And then I host every live stream throughout every live football game. Get a bottle of booze, and we live bet the games. And then we have a Sunday morning show, NFL Pop-Up. And other than that, I'm Wednesday to Friday at 12 p.m.
That's the one I know. The Wednesday to Friday one is the one I always see.
Yeah, and I just need baseball to be done, man. It takes me 3 hours to cap the card. It puts knots all in my back. It stresses me out. If I'm having a good year this year, but if I'm not having a good year, insomnia sets in, and it's a sport. It's the sport where I just don't feel smart enough. The analytics weigh me down, and I cannot wait till it's over and NHL and NBA comes back.
Well, for the MLB, luckily I have Toast does it, so I can move on. But the hardest part at the end of the season in the MLB is when you're seeing the two starting pitchers square off that have squared off 4 or 5 times already, and it's like this lineup has seen this pitcher 5 times. He's gotten rocked twice. He's pitched 2 gems. It's like, what the hell, dude? Just get me to the fall. Yeah. But we're here. And what a segue into we're talking 4 NFL games. I had Jimmy pick the game, so these are games that these guys picked. So I'll go first. I have no idea what they're going to say, by the way, so we might disagree. This is not a game I bet, but my takeaway, my overall thought about the Rams in that opener against Houston was that the offense looked significantly better than the final score indicates. Final score was 14-9, so it looks like just a first glance, the offense was terrible. The offense struggled, only 14 points. Well, they averaged 6.1 yards per play in the game, so they were moving the ball, and the 14 points were 2 long touchdown drives. They drove the length of the field, scored a touchdown. They had 3 other drives where they fumbled it on the Houston 12, they punted it on the Houston 39, and they punted it on the Houston 49. So they had 3 other drives where they drove into Houston territory. So my takeaway is I think the Rams offense looked a lot better than the final score shows. I do think Tennessee's defense is being slept on, and I was saying that before the Denver game. I think that's a very strong defense. People don't realize how injured they were last year. But so is Houston. So, dude, Cam Ward was pressured on 53% of his dropbacks last week. What is he supposed to do? And the Rams have another strong pass rush. Maybe not as dangerous as Denver, but this is still going to be a really good pass rush. What evidence do we have to suggest he's not going to be under siege again? So it would only be the Rams for me. I think the Titans offense is going to have to show me something. And I think the Rams offense might be a little undervalued. This is not something I have a bet on, but it will only be Rams for me. Troy, Jim, who wants to go first?
This is Jimmy's team, so I'm gonna let him lead the way.
Oh, I didn't even know it was his team. I would have let him lead off there.
Well, it's not his team. It's not his team. He's just betting on this team heavily.
Oh, okay.
Futures markets and in the regular season. So I'm gonna let him run it.
Yeah, I think they're the most predictable team in the National Football League. As gamblers, we're looking for predictability, and they move so slowly. McVay is such a phenomenal coach. Now there's some other young coaches like KOC stepping up that are, rivaling how incredible McVay is. But the under in week 1 against the Texans was by far the easiest bet on the board. And Troy's right. I have the Rams. I only have 2 teams futures for Super Bowl. I have Rams at 20-1. I have Rams to win the NFC West. I have Rams over 9.5 wins. I had the Rams minus 2.5 against the Texans, and I had the under 44. And here, this is a business trip. They're going into Tennessee. They don't run up scores. They have all levels of both offense and defense covered for me. Like I have such a calm when I watch them play. And here, I don't like the spread. I bet the double result at plus 105. Double results changed my ROI drastically in football when I don't need to get a 6 or a 6.5 or a 7. And I hit the double result. And I also, and I'll let Troy hammer this one home, I hit the under very hard. One thing I love about the Titans is how they insulate Ward. And we have Callahan's dad, Bill, running this offensive line. They bring in reinforcements to the offensive line. I know the Rams are going to give me 7-8 minute drives. And now the Titans are capable of 4 or 5 minute drives because of the strength of their offensive line. They have strength in defense. So Troy, take it away, because not all the games were on the same spot, but Troy, we hammered the unders here this weekend and talked to them about why we are on them.
Yeah, I love the under in this spot. And I look at what the Titans did in week 1, and the first thing I recognize, especially after going back and looking at the box score and really digging into the advanced numbers with this game, I question Brian Callahan. Is he that guy? He's got a rookie quarterback. He goes to mile high in elevation. He only runs play action 2 times, 2 attempts for 13 yards, 1 RPO attempt for 4 yards. The O-line graded out in the bottom 5, and the wide receiver group really has no offensive threats. They did reinforce their offensive line, but Zietler, he might have been a beneficiary of Penny Sewell, who was right side at the right tackle position, because he did not look very good. And even with a good offensive line, there's not many weapons to target. So I really doubt that this offense is going to be able to turn out points. And the Titans are very stout defensively. Kyle, you kind of touched on that. And if McCrary and Steed and Woods in the secondary could really, hold on to the performance that they posted in week 1, they're going to be really good. Cedric Gray playing, basically box to box, tackle to tackle. I think this is going to be a defensive battle, because you look on the other side of the ball, you got the Rams, who I think probably had an easy matchup in week 1, and they have an easy matchup here again in week 2, because the offensive line is in deep trouble. Dan Moore allowed most of those pressures. Bonito got to him. Imagine what Jared Verse is going to do to him. So I bet the under 42.5, and I'm pretty confident in it. I'm thinking about adding the first half under. I think this is like a 17-12 type of game. Get in and get out. We know McVay and Stafford are quality. They just bring nothing but quality. So I expect the Rams to get the job done. I do have them on a teaser as well with the Colts at minus 120.
Yeah, so what you were saying about Callahan and the offensive line, when is the offensive line we were promised? Because if you remember, when Callahan got that job last year, it was kind of pitched as like, hey, remember his dad came with him, and it was like pitched as in, we're going to turn this team into a team that has a big physical offensive line. Last year, didn't really see it. It was year 1. Didn't see it at all in year 2. Like I said before, Cam Ward was pressured on 53% of his dropbacks. Is that a reflection of Denver or a reflection of the offensive line? But if I'm a Titans fan, when the hell are we going to see this offensive line we were promised when we hired this guy?
Cushenberry, you have the 2 first-round picks with Skoronski and Latham, but Cushenberry coming back early from the Achilles injury is a huge message to the offensive line and to Brian and Bill Callahan. But also, it's going to take him some time to get over that injury. I think this should. Now, we haven't seen it yet, but should be a quality group. You bring in Dan Moore Jr. from the Steelers. You bring in Zeitler. You're moving J.C. Latham to right tackle. That's where he played at Alabama. I expect Ward to be insulated more and more as we move forward. Now, we didn't see that against Denver, and I'm not sure how much we'll see that against the Rams, but against weaker pass rushers, we'll see it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Titans schedule here as we'll move on to the next game. They started with Denver, elite pass rush. Then you got the Rams, sneaky good pass rush. Then you got the Colts, who I think have a very good defensive front. Then you've got the Texans in Houston, very elite defensive front. It's not an easy start here for that.
Then the Raiders, right? The Raiders after that?
Cardinals, Raiders. Yeah.
That's tough. That's a gauntlet right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's a tough start for an offensive line. So maybe we're looking at week 6. We start seeing the Titans offensive line play well. Maybe we see Cam Ward finally get some pockets to throw from. This next one, man, I'm just gonna put under up for me. But to be honest, I don't really know. The Chiefs worried me a lot. I have a lot of faith in. If there's one area of the Chiefs that I expect to bounce back, I think Spags will bounce back, and Spagnuolo will come out with a game plan that slows this Eagles offense down. But what I saw from the Chiefs offense worries me, and Mahomes just struggling from a clean pocket again. We saw it a lot last year. His numbers from a clean pocket weren't good. I don't even know what to do with that information. Is it the receivers? So I don't know what I think of the Chiefs offense right now. I trust Spagnuolo. I'll put an under up, but I'm not sure if I actually bet this game. Go ahead, guys.
We hammered this game. Hammered it. This is my favorite game of the week. I'll let Troy jump in, but I can tell you this. I watched that Brazil game twice. Mahomes, to me, was brilliant. He was spectacular, incredible. And it's not going to be enough. This is a very average football team. Now, if they were all healthy, if they had a wide receiving crew that was all healthy, Rashee Rice was noticeably absent. Obviously, Xavier Worthy got hurt early when he collided with Kelsey. All of a sudden, you look around and Hollywood Brown looked great. Don't get me wrong, but they're just not enough weapons on either side of the ball. It's also, and there's other ways of looking at this game, but I was astonished, and I still am. I still can't get over Tranquil laying into Chris Jones in front of everybody, in front of all the cameras, because he couldn't keep containment at the end of the game. And Chris Jones just took it. He just took it. He let Tranquil berate him in front of all the cameras, in front of everything, and that made me have a lot of respect for Chris Jones. This defense will step up. We know what Spagnuolo can do, but this is heaven to me. The sharps are all on the Chiefs. They're all saying, buy low on the Chiefs, buy low on the Chiefs. This is not a zigzag. This is not a Super Bowl hangover. The Eagles are going to go in there and beat them handily. I'm on Eagles first half and full game, and it's more than a unit on each for me. Troy, take it away.
Oh, I like it.
I mean, people from the pub sports community know this about me. What I do pretty much every week for the past 2-3 seasons is I faded the Chiefs. I don't need much to get me there, so I always start every cap off with looking at the market and what's happened, and we see a flipping event. A flipping event where the home favorite became the home dog. I'm always looking to fade +1, +1.5. And that was enough for me to really pull the trigger on the Eagles. But then you start digging into the matchup itself, and I start seeing what I like. One thing that stuck out to me like a sore thumb last year in the Super Bowl is the pass rush. When you got a wrecking ball and Jalen Carter coming with the pass rush up the middle, I think the interior pass rush is so important against a guy like Mahomes because he's not a finesse type of scrambler. He's not trying to get around the edge where there's only one way to go, and that's towards the sideline. He wants to have options in the pocket. So when you take that away with the interior pass rush, it creates problems. You have less outs, thinner margin of error. And I think that's where the Eagles defense really thrived against them in the past. And I think it's going to thrive again, right now. And the problem with the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs is they have no weapons. Without Rice, without Worthy, that's a huge problem because I'm not sold on these receivers. Marquise Brown, Travis Kelsey, he's old, he's washed. Juju Smith, these guys are all old and washed pretty much. And it's pretty clear on the tape when you watch it back. So
Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they combined for 10 carries for 41 yards. I know they were behind a lot of the game. That is a pedestrian running back room going up against what I think is the second best roster in the NFL. Obviously, the Bills took out what I thought was the best roster in the NFL. So maybe it's just, that was so telling to me that Josh Allen is an absolute superstar. And he has enough to will his team to victory over the Ravens. Do you think the Chiefs right now with Mahomes could will his way to a victory over the Ravens? No. The Ravens would beat them. They would beat them soundly, just like the Eagles are going to do on Sunday. The Eagles are going to beat them comfortably from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, based on what we've seen, it's hard to make an argument against that. And I feel like if you are betting the Chiefs here, you're doing it based on things we've seen long in the past and not things we've seen in recent memory. I mean, these teams just played in the Super Bowl. It wasn't close. I know a lot of people are concerned. I saw a couple in the comments, and I saw a couple of people saying it the other day that they're worried about the Eagles' defense. Guys, Dak Prescott with those receivers, they're going to score points this year. The Cowboys probably aren't going to be a good team, but that offense is going to move the football.
And they've had success in the past moving the football on the Eagles.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's numbers against Philly are wild. Like, he always cooks on them. So, yeah, I don't think that's a testament to anything. I think that Cowboys offense can move the ball on anybody. Like, they have a lot of talent on that offense. So
yeah.
A ton. Those that, I mean, if you can take some pressure off of CeeDee Lamb, and I know the drop or drops are in our heads, but
because I had the over, they're definitely in my head.
Oh, man.
Dude, I'm wondering how much, because if I think based on recent memory, based on what we've seen, let's say the last 6 months, I think the Eagles should probably be laying 2.5, 3 here. But we got a couple of points of Mahomes tax getting us a better number. I had said when we talked about this game earlier in the week, I said I was leaning Eagles. So I don't disagree with a single word either of you said.
I love this game. And I love the opportunity to go up against the Sharps. I love that. Because you don't get that often. You don't get the Sharps, the bigger bets, expecting the zigzag, the Super Bowl hangover, and you get to look at them and tell them to go fuck himself.
Yeah,
I love that.
If the Chiefs win that game, I'm pretty sure it's because the Eagles shoot themselves in the foot. Because I don't think they have the skill set. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs play a great defensive game, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chiefs.
I wouldn't be surprised either. We've seen Jalen Hurts kind of, or especially early in the season, look kind of lost in the pocket. So we could see that. But I just could see a heavy dose of ground game, ground and pound as well.
All right, we're moving on to Jags Bengals, and I'm very interested to hear what you guys are about to say. Real quick, I think the number one question, because remember, there's no more Lou Anarumo here in Cincinnati. I can't believe they fired him, but you know what? It looked pretty good in the opener. So it actually looked good for both parties because the Colts defense looked excellent under Lou as well. And the Bengals actually played a good defensive game. So I think the number one question, because Trevor Lawrence did not play well. The Jags ran the ball. Trevor Lawrence did not play well. The number one question here, that Bengals defensive performance, holding the Browns to, 40 yards rushing, 2 yards per carry. I mean, the Bengals showed out a good defensive performance against the run. 2 yards per carry, 20.8% success rate per rush. So do we take anything away from that? Are we walking forward into week 2 thinking, hey, the Bengals might be a decent defense or a better defense? Or is it just one game and we're calling it bullshit?
I personally believe me and Jimmy are on opposite sides in this game. So take that for what it is, because it's easy to poke holes in the side I'm on. I get it with the Jaguars. It's easy to call out that, the Jaguars are having a fraudulent performance in week 1. And I'm not going to say that that's necessarily true or false at this point. I'm much more confident in the offensive performance we've seen from the Colts or the Jets. I think that's way more sustainable from what we've seen offensively. For this Jags team, I think it remains to be seen. But I do not think the Bengals, I think we know who they are. They have an elite offense. So I think that there's definitely what we've seen offensively is not true. And what we've seen defensively from this team is not true. So you have favorable regression coming for the offense, but I think that's going to be offset by the negative regression coming for the defense, because we know Joe Burrow's elite. He's a great player. The offense is going to shine once the receivers get going. They always play bad against the Browns, especially in Cleveland. But the defense is bad at every level. I mean, unless some of these players they're running out here on the starting defense is just leveling up year over year, which I don't believe that's going to be the case. Flacco passed for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 fake picks that were dropped passes that resulted in interceptions. And last year, the Broncos dropped 30 on him. The Commanders dropped 30 on him. The Titans put up 27. So I do think the Jags are live to score some points in this game. The Bengals, it's just crazy to look at the numbers of what happened in that first game. 11 less first downs, 22 less plays, and 1.7 yards per play less. I mean, they only average 2.9 yards per play. It's just insanity. PFF has a grade on this Bengals defense of 2nd in the NFL. I definitely didn't see that on the field. I thought that there was plenty of opportunities for the Browns, and they can't run the football. And that's historically the case with the Browns. They cannot generate line yards, and their running backs always have a low yards per carry, even back to Chubb. Now, I know Chubb had the devastating injury too. I think the Jaguars roster is actually better than the Bengals at every position except for two, the quarterback and the wide receiver position. Other than that, I think the coaching staff, I have much more belief in Cohen and Udinski at this point, being able to figure out this Jaguars offense. We've seen Trevor Lawrence reach a level of consistency in the past when he made it to the playoffs and had that miraculous comeback. But I like the Jaguars, and the Bengals certainly, they've had their turmoil, especially early in the season. It's the perfect time to fade them. They're 0-4 ATS and 1-4 straight up at home in the first 3 weeks of the season. And the average line on that is 5.5. I bet the Jags plus 3.5. And I'm going to turn it over to Jim.
I'll be on Jimmy's side, by the way.
Well, this is heaven to me, right? This is all I want in football. And we talk about over and over again. It's buy low and sell high. Travis Etienne, for the second time in 28 games, goes over 100 yards, had a 71-yard scamper, ran for 140 plus. I don't believe that's who he is. I've cheered for him, and I've been disappointed time and time and time again. So it's great that he got the year off to a good start. It's great that the youngest general manager in the NFL, the youngest offensive coordinator, a 29-year-old, got off to a great start. It's great that they can have a Lovin and Shad Khan can give the football out to whoever he wants, and his son can be riding in on his shoulders. Look, Lovin all they want. I'm selling them high off a 26-10 win over what we think is probably, one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the league in the Carolina Panthers. We were all on the Browns last week. All of us, we were all on the Browns +6. It was an easy casher. And yes, nobody has ever looked as bad as the Bengals looked in a win. We haven't seen that in 25 years. A team with 7 yards of offense in the second half outgained 327 to 141. I want to back football teams that are questioning themselves right off the hop. I don't want to back a team that is celebrating week 1. And I want to fade the Jags so bad. Now, in saying that, I didn't bet the 3.5. I bet the 3. I paid -122 for it. So you could say, well, how confident are you really? That's fair because I paid for the 3. I'm also on the over 48.5 because the Bengals offense will deliver. Chase Brown is a monster running back. London, Ontario, Chase Brown. And look, they look terrible. That's when I want in. When everybody wants off, I want in. I think this is a spectacular spot to buy low on the Bengals. We'll never get them lower all year. I'm not even that high on the team, generally speaking, but I'm high on them this week at home. I want to fade a team that succeeds in week 1 at home and then goes out on the road and gets slapped in the face. And I expect that to happen this week.
I agree completely. And with basically every single thing you said, I didn't bet it yet, but I agree. It would only be Cincinnati. And I want to pull something up on the screen here. Trevor Lawrence in week 1. Look at that big 12.1. Trevor Lawrence was pressured on just 12% of his dropbacks. 12%. And he still couldn't do shit. Troy mentioned before, hey, the Bengals are only better at 2 positions. Well, one of them's a big gap, and it's the most important position on the field. It's the quarterback. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is any good. And by the way, Cincinnati, look, it was just 1 game. And Troy mentioned that the Browns do historically struggle to run the ball, and that is a good point. But they did a great job against the run. And more importantly, for what I'm talking about with this graphic here, they pressured the shit out of Joe Flacco. He was pressured on almost 38% of his dropbacks. That's solid. And by the way, the Browns offensive line is finally healthy. There's some decent talent on that offensive line. So the Bengals are coming in. Hendricks has got paid. I mean, they might have a pass rush. The defense is playing with energy. Maybe they just needed a new DC there to switch things up. Sometimes just a change of pace is what you need. By no means am I saying, hey, let's buy in on the Bengals defense, but they're coming into this with some confidence, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good. Like Jimmy said, I don't think the Bengals are going to run the ball for 205 yards again. Yeah, it'd be Bengals for me. I could see myself firing on this one, but yeah, I'm on the Bengals side.
Let's go. And the over. Book it.
Yeah, it's tough to argue against an over in this one. All right, last game up. Tell me, okay, I've been accused of having Bucs bias. I want to bet Houston here. I think the Bucs are going. The Bucs offensive stock is going to fall. But we said Falcons last week. Thank God I didn't bet it or anything. But I said Falcons. Obviously, they lose. I still think the Falcons should have won, though. I've always liked CJ Stroud a lot better at home. This Houston defense, I love it. I want to bet Houston -2.5 here. Either you guys with me?
We are both heavily with you, Troy. Get us started, my man.
Yeah, the first thing I look at is just to piggyback on what Kyle said about the Bucs stock, offensive stock falling. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, these teams that have these outlier, incredible performances relative to expectations like the Bucs have, like the Broncos defense last year, every time you see that, you do see a massive regression the following year. It's not even like 50% of the time we're talking about defensively 100% of the time, but it's up there for the offensive side as well. And looking at what Baker did against the Falcons defense in week 1 was kind of sad. He led the league in turnover-worthy plays, 10.5% turnover-worthy play percentage. He had 4 of them. He had never had less than 3 last year, or more than 3 last year. Wrote that wrong. But the Falcons defense is not someone who I look at as being like, a defense that should be able to keep this quality of offense down for very long. And it seemed like they were able to do pretty well. So I think they're going to step into a much bigger arena on the road in Houston against that pass rush. And I think it's going to spell disaster for the Bucs offense, especially what they have been in the past. I do think the Bucs defense is pretty solid. I was surprised that Bowles was not blitzing at all this past week, but I think that shocked Penix because you expect the blitz when you're playing Bowles, and Penix's numbers have been great against the blitz. Not only his 3 or 4 starts in college or in the NFL, but dating back to when he was in college as well. And they only applied 3 pressures at a 6.4% rate. That's good for 25th in the league. And I don't think that defense is going to be like what the Texans offensive line just seen, especially coming off the edge. We're not going to see a lot of pressure like we did see on CJ Stroud in week 1. And CJ Stroud, the big thing about the Texans offense that sticks out to me like a sore thumb, because we've seen him sling the ball downfield accurately. And, inside the numbers, outside the numbers, he's been incredible. It's when you got to give this guy time in the pocket. He'll pick you apart. You look at his ADOT the past 3 years, he went from a 9.2 yard ADOT in 23 to 8.2 in 24, and he's down to 6.7 in week 1 of this season. If I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm looking at that. I'm figuring out ways to drive the ball downfield. If you have to max protect, run a 2-man route. You can be creative with some stuff like that. So, and the Texans defense, like I said, I think they were up against a Super Bowl caliber opponent, in my opinion, and in Jimmy's opinion. And I think that this Texans defense is going to show out once again. So I bet the Texans money line at -135. I decided to pay the juice.
I'm with you. I'm going to bet this right after the show, too. I like the confidence you were speaking with. Jimmy.
I love the spot. Now, Rance, great capper in your chat. He says, this offensive line is still bad. It's a very important angle, and we need to touch on it. First off, their right guard, Ed Ingram, was a very late scratch last week with an abdominal injury. So he's expected to go today. And then Jake Andrews got hurt in the second half. The center who's taking over for Jarrett Patterson. How many teams can lose their center and have last year's 15-game starter wanting to show everybody, look, I can still do this? He's not angry. 6th-round pick out of Notre Dame, Jarrett Patterson. He's not angry. So Jarrett Patterson comes in. They got hurt. They got hurt when Andrews got hurt and Ed Ingram didn't play. Now, Ed Ingram's going to play this week. That's the expectation, at least. And you have Jarrett Patterson in. So that's crucial. Then we have a Buccaneers team in their first game without the great strategist Liam Cohen. Baker throws for 167 yards. Bucky Irving ran 14 times for 37 yards. Egbuka was the best wide receiver by a landslide. Everything looked different without Liam Cohen. Everything looked different. And they were able to beat the Atlanta Falcons because the Falcons aren't a very good football team. I don't know if the Texans are a very good football team, but they're, I believe, quite a bit better than the Falcons. They're angry after a 14-9 loss. Questions abound for CJ Stroud. I understand that Nick Chubb, maybe not quite as good as Joe Mixon, but he's got a lot to prove. He ran 13 times for 60 yards. We know what this defense can do. Henry Toto and Aziz Al-Shair are violent. They are violent linebackers. And you add Will Anderson Jr., who had a sack and 3 tackles for a loss. This is a defense that is going to be very good. We know their secondary is spectacular. We already know that. We know Stingley. We know this team is so deep. We are so lucky that they put up 9 points week 1. It allows us to buy low on a team that is really good. And I think the Texans take care of business. I think the 2.5 is a gift. I can understand those of you moving on the money line, but anything under 3, to me, I think is just good money. I can't wait to watch the Texans step up. Everybody questioning D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud right now. Week 2 at home against the Bucs. They're going to show it. This is not a fade of the Bucs. This is betting on the Texans.
I like what you guys are saying too, about the Rams. I think the Rams are a lot better, like you guys were saying, than they're perceived right now. So a 14-9 loss, they had the ball with a chance to drive down and take the lead. That's not a bad loss. I mean, I agree with you guys that I think the Rams are much better than being discussed. So yeah, I'm betting this right after. I'm in. I'll join you guys on the Texans -2.5. Or did you take the money line too, Jim?
No, I didn't. I took the 2.5 -111. I can understand both routes, but for me, if I get under 3, I'm comfortable with it.
All right, it's time to head out. Pub Sports Radio. Jim, you're on tomorrow morning?
Yes, on tomorrow, well, 12 p.m. Over at Pub. But the main thing here is thank you for mentioning Pub, but it's us being here on the Sauce Network and getting to get a little taste of what you guys have built over here, this great community. We're honored to be here, and we want to deliver. We must deliver winners. We're not here just for content. We make these bets. We hammer these bets. We live with the consequences. And we're honored to be rocking here with you, Kyle, and the Sauce Network. So thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming by. And then hopefully every Wednesday. And yeah, I'll reach out to you on Sunday night and we'll plan it out a little better so we don't throw it together last minute. And yeah, see you guys.